I became a street pharmacist.
You don't mean a drug seller?
I became a drug dealer. That's right, street pharmacist. You like that one, don't you? Yeah, street pharmacist.
Kind of cleans it up a little bit.
Clean up a little bit, right? So I'm dealing drugs. And it was April 18th, 1999. I'll never forget it. I'm down in Daytona Beach. And I was on ecstasy, acid, blew out of my mind. Literally, I was cutting myself. And I was approached by a security guard. He said, hey, you gotta leave. Because if you hurt yourself or someone else, we're liable. You gotta get out of here. He walks me out of the resort that I was paying for with drug money. He said, can I pray for you?
Oh,
Can you imagine that?
Wow.
What about the power of prayer? The power of prayer. Now remember, in the Old Testament, the false prophets, they were cutting themselves. It's a form of idol worship, self-mutilation, cutters. It's a spirit. I was cutting myself, trying to destroy myself. He said, no, I want to pray with you.
Wow.
He grabbed my hands and he started praying for me. Can you imagine that?
Yes.
He just started praying for me. I never had anybody pray for me like that. And immediately, I knew drug dealing was wrong. First time in my life, I thought it was a business. I made a lot of money. Bad health insurance. you can't pull out of your 401k, and that'd be a great cash business, though. Right? So I go up to the only church that I knew of, Straight Gate Church. Enter ye into the straight gate, because broad is the way and wide is the gate that leads to destruction, and there be many that enter therein. But straight is the gate, and narrow is the way that leads to life, and there be few that find it. I go to Straight Gate Church, April 18, 1999. I have drugs in my pocket. I was selling something called Catamphetamine. It was Special K. Kids would snort it. They would go into rave parties. And I was selling it. I had it in my pocket. But the way they worship, can you imagine it? The way people, they worship the Lord. And I'm sitting there with my driver, Mike Jessup. He was my driver. I'm crying. Bishop Merritt, he preaches. He said, does anybody want to give their heart to Jesus Christ? I looked at Mike. I said, I'm going down there. I go down there. I'm crying. Can you imagine that? A bloody brow, a broken soul. Had everything on the outside. But what can a man give for his soul? Bishop Merritt gave me the microphone, 3,000 people. I mean, the place is packed. He gives me the mic, and like out of my belly like a river of water, I love Jesus. Just comes out of my mouth. At that time, the elders would take you in the back of the church. They would explain the gospel to you. I got baptized, but I'm still a drug dealer. I go home. I call on my friends. I said, I'm done. I'm not dealing drugs anymore. They say, yeah, right. I said, I'm out of it. I go to the guy I was distributing for. I sit down with him. I give him all the drugs, give him all the money. I said, I'm done. He said, what's wrong? Now remember, this guy had bodies under his belt. He was a real murderer. He says to me, what's wrong? Are the cops on to you? Are you sick? I said, no. I gave my heart to Jesus. Wow. I get up. I'm telling you, I'm thinking he's gonna pound me, shoot me. I put my hand on the door. He said, Zoe. I turn around. He says, I respect you.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? On Friday, I was a dope dealer. On Monday, I'm a hope dealer.